Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Not only twice a year, but once in January. You see on the screen a very nice painting, an old style painting with the Panchatattva pictured, and of course in very strong, bold colors. There's Advaita Acarya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas, Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. There are many nice things to hear and understand about Advaita Acharya. We'll start with what we see on the screen. According to the teachings of our Sampradaya, these first three on our left, or Lord Chaitanya, and then his right, Nityananda, and then his right, Advaita Acharya, these three are Vishnu Tattva forms of the Lord. Vishnu Tattva forms means they're in the same category, although they have their personality, they have their function, they have their activities, and we're going to try focusing on Advaita Acharya and his loving affection for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, both in his appearance and in his departure, the both ends of Lord Chaitanya's life. Because Advaita Acharya, we see him pictured here with a nice beard and white hair, because he was much older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he outlived Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained on earth just 48 years. And Advaita Acharya was a senior even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. In this image on the screen, you see Maha Vishnu. We know it's Maha Vishnu for two reasons. One, there's no goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, because Maha Vishnu retains an internal position of Rama Devi, his consort, within. And another is those bubbles or universes that are appearing here and there. They're arising from the breathing of Mahavishnu. He's very talented. He can just breathe and create universes. And very powerful. So we're going to hear something about the nature of these expansions of Mahavishnu. He, Advaita Acharya, is in the category of upadan, or the material cause of the creation. His function is in relation to the creation. So he manifests the material nature. That's the upadan maya, or the material causation principle. From him comes all these raw ingredients. Raw ingredients means the undifferentiated totality of Prakriti, or Pradhan. That's the feature of Mahavishnu. And in addition, there's the efficient cause, or nimitta, just like we know from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna uses this word nimitta, where he instructs Arjuna, become nimitta matram, bhavya sabyasachi, yo Arjuna, become my instrument. So the original cause, or efficient cause, or the nimitta cause, is not Mahavishnu, but he plays a role. Here's a nice photograph of the place in Jagannath Puri, where Lord Advaita Acharya performed a pastime when many of the devotees were in the hot summer in Jagannath Puri, were engaged in playful pastimes. They were splashing one another and swimming and so forth. Advaita Acharya took the position like Anantashesh, where he was lying down and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was resting upon him like Lord Vishnu rests upon Anantashesh, the serpent carrier of Vishnu. Thus, in a pastime way, indicating their relationship. Here's the text. Lying down on Advaita Prabhu, who was floating on the water, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the pastime of Shesha Shayi Vishnu. Now, to what extent all the devotees understood, who can say? But at least these two lords, they understood the pastime that they were enacting. A very celebrated event, and this particular painting is also a very celebrated painting, is the circumstance that brought about the advent or appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many of you know this pastime. Advaita Acharya was a Vaishnava, a Brahmana Vaishnava, and he was very active in promoting worship of Lord Vishnu, not only his own worship, but extending that encouragement to others. However, because Kali Yuga had begun and degradation was already happening, he found it very challenging to bring Vishnu Bhakti into the world in this degraded age of Kali. And so he decided the best was to appeal to the personality of Godhead, although he is an expansion of the original personality of Godhead, to invite Krishna to appear in this world. And being a learned Brahmana, he remembered a particular verse that's from Gautamiya Tantra. It's also found directly in our more modern literature, the Hari Bhakti Vilas, where in Sanskrit, of course, it says, Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. So he, Advaita Acharya, had a Shalagram Shila, which we see in the painting, and there's also a photograph of his Shalagram Shila that's on the altar, on his altar in Shantipur. So he placed the deity, the Shalagram Shila, on a little throne and went by the side of the Ganges River, and not just with palmfuls of water, but Ganges water, and offering tulsi leaves and Ganges water to his Shalagram Shila, he called in a very loud voice, like very loud voice, again and again and again, this verse in Sanskrit. Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotee, sells himself to a devotee. So he wanted not to own or purchase Lord Chaitanya, but he wanted Lord Chaitanya to appear. Later, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, I was in my mystic sleep upon the ocean of milk when I was woken up by the loud calling of Nada, Sri Advaita. My present incarnation is due mainly to him. So there are three causes of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. This is one of those three. Another, it was time for the Yuga Dharma to be inaugurated, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came for that additional purpose. And to mitigate this, the suffering of so many living entities who are victims of this age of Kali. He wanted to do that. And so he appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here's a little text, just some further detail by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Sajjana Toshini. It was a periodical that he published. And here's what he writes. Shriman Mahaprabhu often addressed Srila Advaita Prabhu as Nada. Some Vaishnava scholar, without a name, has said that the word Nara refers to Maha Vishnu because he is Nara, or the total aggregate of all living entities situated within him. People of Radhadesh means a certain tract of land in India, North India. They often use da in Sanskrit and pronounce in place of ra. Is this the reason that the word Nara has been written as Nada? This meaning is often applicable. The word Nara or Nara or Nada is explained by Sridhar Swami in his Bhavarti Dipika. Bhavarti Dipika is his personal commentary on the Bhagavatam. So he's drawing from a section in the 10th canto, chapter 14, where Brahma is offering prayers to Krishna. The Brahma Vimohan Lila has taken place after he sees all these manifestations of Krishna. He offers this prayer, or the commentary, excuse me. This is Sridhar Swami's commentary. The word Nara refers to the aggregate of living entities, and the word Ayana refers to the shelter. You are Narayana because you, Krishna, are the supreme shelter of all embodied souls. So there, Narayana, combine the two words, and he, Brahma, is saying, you, Krishna, this little boy, 5 years old, you're Narayana. And Krishna says, what? Anyway, so it's a way to address Krishna as Narayana, and thus he's the aggregate of all Naras, and thus Nara or Nada in the vocative. There's the Shalagram Shila that Advaita Acharya worshipped. And after he completed the worship, he had all confidence that the Lord would be very kind. You see in this painting, at least, he has tears coming from his eyes because he understood the personality of Godhead will soon appear, and he's feeling ecstatic. And sure enough, he made his appearance on the full moon night, and on that particular night, you can see at the bottom of this painting, there's many, many, many people gathered, because it's a custom to bathe in the sacred river, especially on the occasion of a full moon. And when the full moon appears, there's 10,000 Bengalis all pushing to get into the Ganga. But in this appearance of the Supreme Lord that was at midnight, so at the stroke of midnight, they all went in rushing to the Ganges to take their sacred bath and become purified, simultaneously, and calling out, Haribol, Haribol, in great, great loud voices. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, made his appearance as the son of Mother Sachi. And here is a nice painting depicting the wife of Advaita Acharya. She's bringing some gifts to give to the small child. And you see from the painting, in her thoughts, she understands this is not just Mother Sachi's child. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Krishna, who was called for by my husband, Advaita Acarya, to appear in this world, and this is him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead on the lap of my dear friend, Mother Sachi. And behind Sachi, behind Sita, we see other persons that are also come on the occasion of the birth of the child to bring gifts, because this is a tradition or custom. Now, as a wealthy person, Advaita Acarya had more than one home. And this one home that's pictured in this photograph is not necessarily the exact size and replica of his home, because this was some hundreds of years ago, but it marks the spot where Advaita Acarya also had a home, or Advaita Bhavan. And its location today, it's very near to Srivas Thakur's home. Now, the Srivas Thakur is that same Srivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. It's one of the Panchatattva members. Advaita Acarya wanted to be close to his home for several reasons. One of those several reasons was it was also very close to Jagannath Mishra's home, or Lord Chaitanya and Sachi's home. And he wanted to be close to them. And what he did when he was in this particular Advaita Bhavan, he would conduct a regular morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. And it was really a popular class because he's the personality of Godhead, speaking about the personality of Godhead. And in the audience on a daily basis was Nimai Pandit's elder brother. Nimai Pandit is the name of the child. He was given the name Nimai by Sita Devi. And he was given the name Nimai because he was born under a neem tree. And there was some concern because neem is a medicinal, the leaves of the neem tree are medicinal, and the neem tree is said to be auspicious or protect one from ill fortune. So because a number of the children of Mother Sachi had died shortly after they were born, he was called Nimai to take the benediction of the neem tree under which he was born. So Nimai, and because he became a school teacher, he was known as Nimai Pandit. But that when he was younger, there's a little painting of his brother, Vishwarup, and Vishwarup would attend this morning Bhagavatam class every day, and became very attracted, so much attracted that Mother Sachi had to send little Nimai to drag him back home. At least in this painting, it shows he's dragged him by his dhoti. And so they went back home and had their breakfast. But in course of time, Vishwarup not only liked the Bhagavatam class, but he liked Krishna so much, he also left home and took sannyas when he was just a young teenager. And Mother Sachi, by this time, she had no husband. She had these two boys, and now one of the boys was gone, influenced by the spiritual association of Advaita Acarya. And so she began to speak bad things about Advaita Acarya, or she made offense at the lotus feet of Advaita Acarya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu scolded her severely and ordered her, "You've made an offense at the feet of Advaita Acarya. You go to his feet, fall at his feet, beg forgiveness, and if he forgives you, then you can become, your obstacles on the path of spiritual life will be taken away. If you don't, you'll never develop love of Godhead." Of course, she's a pure devotee, but he spoke that way. And she was very happy to take shelter of the lotus feet of Advaita Acarya. Here is a scene where, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the order of sannyas at the age of 24, so Sachi had only one remaining son because the older son had already taken sannyas and her husband was gone. So who was her protector? It was Nimai. And he went impulsively and went and took sannyas also. So she was feeling very sorry. The devotees made an arrangement that Lord Chaitanya and his mother Sachi could meet together, and the meeting place was in Shantipur, the home of Advaita Acarya. How fortunate is Advaita Acarya to be the host of the meeting place of mother and son who has just taken sannyas. And there he is embracing his mother, and she's crying and saying, please don't go to Vrindavan. If you go to Vrindavan, I may never hear of you ever again. But I know you want to be with Krishna, but Krishna is also in Puri, so please go to Puri. It's much closer. And I'll get word of you when the devotees go back and forth to Puri, and so forth and so on. So he agreed out of affection for his mother. So Chaitanya made his residence in Jagannath Puri for a number of years, for half of his life, half of his 48-year life. This is a very old British occupancy painting of Shantipur. On the left side is the temple where he would worship, where Advaita Acarya would worship. On the right side, there's several domes. That's indicating domes or samadhis of departed souls or worshipable personalities. Here's the front side of the temple, and here's a sitting place. I don't know if you read Bengali, but this is a sitting place where three Prabhus, that's Advaita Acarya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu would sit and discuss strategies of how to spread Krishna consciousness all over India and ultimately all over the world. Here's a nice murti of Advaita Acarya and Madhavendra Puri, a murti of Madhavendra Puri. And here's their deity, Madan Gopal, Radha Madan Gopal. And then in the front is that same very well-known Shalagram Shila that Advaita Acarya worshipped to invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear. There's a close-up of the Gopal deity. Now, another personality who intersected with Advaita Acarya's life was Madhavendra Puri. And there's a lot to say about Madhavendra Puri, but because of time, we'll just keep it simple. He became the Diksha Guru of Advaita Acarya. That's one thing. So that's Advaita Acarya, was in the disciplic succession line from Lord Brahma, or Madhvacharya, who was in the line of Lord Brahma, or Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. But the personality pictured here, this Madhavendra Puri, he had the practice of immersing himself in the mood of the gopis' feelings of separation from Krishna after Krishna left. And it's very significant. It's super significant because that mood has followed behind him, from him to Ishwara Puri, from Ishwara Puri to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his followers. He was the seed, Madhavendra Puri. That mood of love in separation from Krishna, specifically the mood of the gopis, in the mood of love in separation from Krishna. Some of his other disciples didn't understand, and they spoke ill of him because of what he was doing. But Ishwara Puri did not do that, and of course Advaita Acarya did not do that. And he, Madhavendra Puri, distributed that mood of love for Krishna as the gopis are feeling love for Krishna. And it was a major part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities while living in Jagannath Puri. This is a place where, as you see on the left side of those paintings, that's Madhavendra Puri, and a place where he gave Diksha to Advaita Acharya. Here's a close-up of the Madhavendra Puri painting or drawing. In addition to residing in Shantipur, Advaita Acharya was a noble personality, a wealthy personality, and so he had other residence places. This is one of them. For some time, he resided in Vrindavan. This place in Vrindavan is very near to Keshi Ghat. It's not right next to it, but it's very near to Keshi Ghat. And Advaita Acharya, while residing here, discovered a deity, or a deity was revealed to him, and later the followers of Lord Chaitanya worshipped this deity found by Advaita Acharya. He engaged in the Sankirtan pastimes with the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is a particular painting indicating the Panchatattva once again. But when Kirtan was going on, it wasn't just 5 men. It was many devotees. Here's a close-up of the deity of Advaita Acharya found in Sridham Mayapur. He is customarily depicted as having white hair and a big white beard. So he had many pastimes with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri and elsewhere. I'll share a little bit because there's a limitation of time, but a little bit to expand a little bit on the pastimes of Advaita Acharya. He had a disciple named Kamalakanta Vishwas. And Kamalakanta Vishwas was given the assignment to travel from Mayapur or Shantipur, the both places are very close to one another, going in a southerly direction heading for Puri. The person that he was assigned to travel with was Paramananda Puri. Paramananda Puri was a godbrother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No, he was a godbrother of the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ishwara Puri. And so very much respected senior Vaishnav. So Paramananda Puri was given the assignment, or given the service of taking with him Kamalakanta Vishwas, because Kamalakanta Vishwas was a personal servant of Advaita Acharya. He was privy to confidential information, and as it turns out, he knew that Advaita Acharya, his guru, had some debt to the king, King Prataparudra. It wasn't much, it was 300 rupees. But when he went, Kamalakanta Vishwas went all the way to Puri, he conveyed through a messenger a request that King Prataparudra forgive the 300 rupee debt owed by Advaita Acharya. Well, in one sense, that was a big mistake. In another sense, it was a great fortune. It was a big mistake because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted it as offense. How can you say the personality of Godhead has a debt? 300 rupees debt. Nonsense. So he didn't say nonsense, but he was chastising him. And Kamalakanta Vishwas, he said to Kamalakanta Vishwas, you go away, I don't want to see your face. That's pretty strong language. And Kamalakanta was deeply hurt. And Advaita Acharya, rather than just putting his arm around him and comforting him, he expressed to him, you're very fortunate to get causeless mercy in the form of chastisement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In my younger days, I also was being treated with the greatest respect by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was treating me like his guru, and I was very uncomfortable. So I knew what to do. I started speaking some impersonal philosophy, saying my goal of life is to achieve liberation. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard I was saying this, and he came and chastised me severely. You nonsense. So I had to do something deliberately bad, but you got mercy anyways. So consider yourself to be greatly fortunate. In other words, a lesson, sometimes we're not elevated souls like Kamalakanta Vishwas or other personalities who have exalted personalities who have some misfortune come their way. But although we're little people, misfortune may come our way, and it may have an intention behind that misfortune of good fortune, or the best of fortune, that is, getting the direct association and therefore the direct mercy of the personality of Godhead. And in other words, when we're going through a difficult situation, we may not be thinking Krishna's mercy. I love difficult situations. But it may be Krishna's mercy. And in Krishna's mercy, one of the benefits is take deeper shelter of the personality of Godhead. Circumstance may require that of us. And the impetus is sometimes we have some difficulty. So it's not like wishing that you have difficulties, but they come anyways. And when they come, be prepared to examine, is this actually just some good fortune that has come to me and looks like bad fortune? Because sometimes that's exactly what the case is. Now, we've ended our presentation for this morning, or this afternoon. This is another nice painting of the Panchatattva dancing in kirtan together. I don't know what happened because everything got mixed up here. So let us see if there's some discussion. So you have a moderator? Who's our moderator? Can you unmute yourself?
Rajkumar Prabhu, if the devotees have any questions, they can unmute and ask, or they can write it on the chat box and we can read it to Maharaja.
I hope he can hear you.
Rajkumar Prabhu?
No? Yes?
Srinandanandan Prabhu is also online.
Okay. Sri Nandanandana. Help. Oh, there's Braja Kumar. You're unmuted. Braja Kumar, help us. You're muted.
Hari?
Okay.
Yeah, Harish Prabhu, can you hear me?
Now he can hear you because he had you muted. But you're okay now. Go ahead.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Once again, I cannot express enough in words our gratitude we feel to you for everything you have done for us. So once again, on behalf of the management and congregation, we thank you very much for everything you have done. And it's our hope and prayer, as I said visits last year, it is our hope that you will visit at least one more time
Well,
continue to
Krishna's
inspire us.
mercy, that's the plan. That's the plan.
Yes, Maharaj. Wonderful.
But it won't be in January, I'll guarantee.
Actually, it's not usually this bad. I mean, it just happens to be one of the worst winters.
Yeah.
But it's not this bad usually. But
Yeah.
hopefully, we have seen the worst of it.
Springtime.
Yes, Maharaj, that'll be best. It'll allow more people to come and hear you personally. So I think springtime may be a better time to visit.
Okay. Maybe even fall.
Michigan summers are good too, Maharaj. Anyway,
Yeah.
we
But
can work around your schedule and.
Universities aren't open in the summer.
Yeah, that's true. That'll be a problem in summer.
So
yes,
we'll do
Maharaj.
both. Somehow.
Okay. Thank you very much, Maharaj. If there's anything we can do for you in reciprocation,
Yeah,
please
you can
let
ask
us know,
people
Maharaj.
ask questions.
Yes, Maharaj, I agree. So everybody, if you have any questions, please post in the chat window or just unmute your microphone and please ask your question.
Or raise your hand. That's another system.
Maharaj, I have had a question for a while now, but
Okay.
it's not related to today's class.
Uh-oh.
It's about Srimad Bhagavatam, and I know you are one of the authorities on Srimad Bhagavatam.
Let's do that at the very end. If there's
Okay, sure.
If there's no questions, then we will do your question.
Sure. Okay, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Can I ask a question, but it is again not related to today's class?
Okay.
It's a question I have, Maharaj.
How about this? There seems to be no question from today. We'll go to whatever you want. And you get the first question. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. So my question is, this is something that was asked to me from one of my friends, and he said he cited a person in the olden Puranas where his name is Kanapanayanar, who who is a hunter by profession, and he hunted and offered meat to Lord Shiva, and he says, why can't we offer anything that we cook at home? If Kanapanayanar is being able to offer meat, what is why can't we offer what we cook at home if it is even if it has onion or garlic? I gave him an answer, but I was not very. He was not very convinced. I was not convinced myself, so I thought I would get your answer, and maybe next time I can address that better.
I got about 90% of what you said.
Okay.
And the 10% of what you said I didn't get. And that's like where the key question is. So the question was why we can't eat meat.
No, that was not the question.
The question was,
so if Kanapanayanar offered meat, why when we cook vegetarian food with onion or garlic, why can't we offer that to God?
Why? Well, we can't offer onions and garlic? That's the question?
Right.
Well, there are foods that are sattvic, foods that are rajasic, and foods that are tamasic in the vegetarian category. We don't offer the tamasic and rajasic category. We offer sattvic only. That's the answer.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told him, but I know he was not very convinced.
Well, okay, so. I'm convinced. In other words, we offer simple. We offer Krishna what he wants, and he says this and not that. So we do this and not that. But why does he say this? Because it's sattvic. As opposed, there are foods that are that aggravate and agitate and amplify the other modes. and even within the vegetarian kingdom. So that's why. Krishna doesn't want, we don't give what he doesn't want. We give what he wants. Simple. And if that's not satisfying to them or to you, then find another answer. That's the scriptural answer. We offer to Krishna what he wants.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Narottam Natai Prabhu, you can unmute and ask your question, please.
Hi, my Dandavats, dear Maharaj, I really appreciate your lectures, and I appreciate listening to you. I find your voice to be very, it's really nice to listen to your lectures. One thing I wanted to ask Maharaj is, Advaita Acharya, I know, he used to, offer a lot of water with tulsi to, was it the river Ganges or
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Ganges water and tulsi leaf to his Shalagram Shila.
Okay. Dear, thank you so much. Yeah. So my question is, I know that when Krishna, I've heard this. I don't know if this is right. But when Krishna, appears, he takes the form of Vishnu, and which is more like Shamsundar, like color. So my question is that also the case of Mahaprabhu appearing in this world? I mean, obviously, this maybe more more nuanced of a question because Krishna Mahaprabhu is golden complexion as Srimati Radharani. So I just wanted to know if that is also related with how Advaita Acharya is mood is in terms of the effulgence. I don't know if that's the right question to ask, but so forgive me for that, and maybe I'm drawing two parallels that should not be drawn. But basically, does Mahaprabhu take on like the golden color because also Advaita Acharya is in that same mood?
There's no description. There's ample description of describing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's complexion as golden, like Radharani is golden because of Radharani's complexion. But there's no such reference about Advaita Acharya. Now, what artists do and don't do, if you're an artist from India, you might paint Advaita Acharya differently than an artist from the West. Like the painting that's on my screen, Advaita Acharya's image is fair complexion, or even golden complexion, and Advaita and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not golden; he's just fair complexion. So it's just artist discrimination. Why they depict Advaita Acharya the way he is depicted in a painting. But back to your question. Is there anything in Scripture that says Advaita Acharya is golden in complexion like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And the answer is I'm unaware of any description like that. I'm unaware of any description of what his complexion is. So it just describes his age and his family and his ancestry and lineage and all those nice things, but not his complexion. But I'll tell you what. If you run across something in Scripture that says what his complexion is, send it to me, okay? Because I'm unaware.
Yeah, I will do Maharaj, but yeah, this is my Dandavats from here from Zoom. Hare Krishna, Dandavats.
I will. Well, it sounds like we're done. So thank you all very much for participating. We're all sorry. I'm sorry and you're sorry that it's this way instead of in person. But, we're not in charge of the weather. Srila Prabhupada ki,
Yeah.
Advaita Acharya ki,
Jai.